Hello and welcome to So Far
Stargate.
Stargate.
Star-studded Stargate. Oh, Stancast? Oh, that sort of works. I'm Khaki.
I'm Kay, and this is the story.
Stargate.
Starcast.
It's not
Starcast probably
quite-
works best.
Yeah, but it sounds so... I mean, that...
Fargate.
Oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Wow, it has just occurred to me that there is definitely Stargate, Farscape, fanfic, because we're doing the episode that I sort of hinted at last time. I hope you got what it was, listeners at home, when I said it was that one episode of the other show that they are also in.
Yes. Do tell. I mean, it's clearly a Stargate pastiche, but...
No, opposite. You tell me what you think you just saw.
Okay, to me this felt like, a post-production Stargate thing.
Uh-huh.
So, like, someone went in and tried to throw a lot of weird things together for Stargate. Basically, one of those weird shows that you occasionally see about Star Trek, where they do it for a convention or something, where they kind of act out an episode or something, which is like clearly meant to take the mickey out of themselves.
No, man. This is actual season 10, episode 6, titled 200. It's the 200th episode of Stargate SG-1.
Okay. Wow.
Which happens to have Ben Browder and Claudia Black in it.
Right.
Because... Well, it was that time after season 8. One of the leads, Richard Dean Anderson, you know him as MacGyver, had left
Colonel
the
O'Neill.
cast of very good. Had left the cast of Stargate SG-1, and so they just replaced him with a brand new charismatic character
Played by Ben Browder.
Yep, and. Claudia Black had played a character that showed up a few times beforehand, Vala Maldoran. Oh, yes, actually, I've got a little present for you.
Oh?
Well, I know how you are with names, so I've printed out the cast sheet.
Oh, that's fantastic, yes.
With all the character names. So, actors are a little trickier, but at least we have all the character names.
Oh, that's very useful, yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, so full disclosure here, my exposure to Stargate has been... I have seen an episode or two of the original running. I've watched...
And the original film, of course.
And the film, yeah, I've seen the original film.
I've watched... Beautiful Ra.
Stargate Universe with you.
Yes.
And I've seen a few of the first episodes of Atlantis.
Also very good. I think that was actually running while this episode aired.
Right, they had two shows running at the same time at a certain point, weren't they? That was like pretty good. Star Trek has ever done that until recent years.
Yeah, and now there's a lot. I think there was Buffy and Angel. Anyway, yes. Yeah, around the time that Richard Dean Anderson departed from the series, well, Ben Browder was free and had a lot of fans.
So, bring him on.
So that's when I got into Stargate.
Okay.
Which I'd never really... I was going to say clicked into, but since it's Stargate, I should say dialed into SG-1 quite so much. It was a bit militaristic for my tastes. And
it's kind of like A-Team in space, but, with existential dread, or maybe not even a lot of that.
Jeopardy and ticking clocks and the apparently full cooperation of the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, so yes, this episode, it really felt like it was a pastiche.
A sort of fan production or a parody.
Well, like I said, a post-production throw together where we just got a few people. So I didn't actually know that Claudia Black had been playing a recurring character, because there's a comment in fairly early on where she's like, "Oh yeah, we'll just replace him with a different actor and nobody will notice."
Yes.
And I was wondering if that was a reference to Ben Browder replacing O'Neill or what's
very good.
Yeah.
Check your cheat sheet.
Right. Yes. Actually, he's not on there, is he? Richard Dean Anderson, yes, of course. Oh, sorry, is he MacGyver era photo of him?
I got that off of IMDb.
Where
That's
he still
his
has a
picture
mullet,
there.
yes.
Yes, bless him.
Okay, so, and this also, and Martin Lloyd, he has a very familiar face. I'm not quite sure where I know him from, but it does answer one of my questions, yes. So his character's name is Martin Lloyd.
Uh-huh.
And whenever he answers the phone, he says something like, "Go for Marty," or "Go for Marty."
Go for Marty. You got Marty. Yeah, go for Marty.
Marty.
Right, no, I get that, but I wasn't sure what he was saying. Like, "Go for Marty"? It's like, it sounded like a weird thing, so I wasn't sure if that was his name or
whether he was called Go for Martin.
I mean, he might have just been
Gopher's a nice name.
Gopher, Gopher is also a position,
Oh yes, go for this, go for that.
Yeah, but he was the writer. So, okay, so the concept of the show is they bring a studio guy in
Yep.
to basically create plausible deniability. We're going to create actually, they have created a science fiction show. Apparently, there has been already 3 seasons of this science fiction show, which more or less mirrors the events that happened in Stargate.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And this is the guy who has been producing that show, and the show's been cancelled, and they're doing a straight-to-TV movie, I believe, or straight-to-network movie.
Yes, as Teal'c observes,
it allegedly performed well on DVD.
Based on the strength of the DVD sales.
Yes.
He is so aware. Actually, it's all the aliens who are like super aware of media here. It's Teal'c, Vala. Actually, for people who aren't familiar with Stargate, I'm just realizing maybe it's a good idea. Hey, this is an interesting challenge. How about you translate your cheat sheet in audio form to explain to people who these characters are in your words, Kay?
Okay, so we have a William Shatner-esque type gentleman on the left of this crew shot, which we have here.
Yes, from, I think, season 10.
Right, titled Major General Hank Landry, which I believe is one of the...
Bridges brothers. Yes, he's Beau Bridges.
Oh, I have no idea who Beau Bridges is.
Oh, what were you going to say then?
I was going to say he's like one of the people who was in charge of the operation.
Yes.
He kind of charged the he's the project manager of
Major General. Yeah.
I mean Major General O'Neill was also a general, so they even go at like general at a certain point. Okay,
Doctor.
So like I said, he's a bit William Shatner-esque in this photo.
Yeah,
I would say.
Good look.
Okay, left of him we have, right of him we have Caprica 6, played by Samantha Carter. Or no, that's the name.
That's Amanda Tapping.
Okay, well, I know, but get the same energy, like.
How is that the same energy?
Blonde. It's a little bit more Starbucky.
I was
You're right.
say.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's more Starbucky than Caprica 6. But okay.
BSG reference for the homies.
Right. Next we have the language geek Daniel Jackson, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. Glasses, who is like brilliant. Like, hasn't got as much hair as his puppet does, but no.
The puppets, I forgot
that was a fantastic scene, yeah. Then we have Vala Maldoran, or Doran, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, played by Claudia Black, who is wearing pigtails.
Lovely pigtails.
Yeah. I don't think it's a look that suits her very well, but...
It's a bit girlish, but, if she's into that.
No, true. Cam Mitchell, played by Ben Browder, who is like, cool young hotshot.
Yeah.
That's how he portrays himself. Teal'c, I'm not sure
how it's
pronounced.
Correct.
It is pronounced just Teal'c. I mean, technically there should be a glottal stop in case of the apostrophe, I suppose.
I don't think you can easily do a glottal stop between two
consonants. No, it's not. It's very difficult.
Aspirated,
yeah. And then, of course, Willie Garson, played by Martin... Oh, no, the other way around. Martin Lloyd, played by Willie Garson.
Every time that someone makes that mistake, I keep thinking of my boyfriend for the longest time. Bless him. I love him very, very much. Thought that Spinal Tap from the mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, the fictional band...
Was actual for real?
Was real. And that, Paul Shearer, or whatever his name is, was Davidson Dubbins' stage name.
Oh.
Or the other way around. And, for years and years I didn't correct him because I thought it was just so beautiful. And we kept going to like music stores and he'd always check if there was a new Spinal Tap album. I'm like, not this year, honey. Maybe next year. We'll see. Keep an eye on, maybe they'll go on tour.
That'd be nice, yeah. Oh, wow, that's amazing. I mean, it is very well done.
Yes.
So that's my cheat sheet.
Very good.
And yes, of course, Richard Dean Anderson in his MacGyver years, McMullet years, I should say. Although it's not so bad in this photo.
Apparently, over the run of SG-1, there were sort of occasional MacGyver jokes, which I can't now remember. So, moving on from there, I'm sorry, there's 10 seasons and I didn't see very many of them. Go!
Prepare the starburst!
Chevron 7 encoded.
Yes, which is almost good because it opens with a shot of a ship flying off in the distance, and then our producer guy, followed by a quick throw together, which is from the series apparently that we're seeing.
Previously on Stargate SG-1.
I'm not just interested in outer space. I'm from outer space.
4 excellent heroes in an extraordinary new sci-fi series. Starring Nick Marlowe as the Rye, Colonel Danning.
As a matter of fact, it does say Colonel on my uniform.
Wormhole X-Treme.
It's what I do.
Yeah, so apparently there had been an episode with Martin Lloyd and the series Wormhole X-Treme before, I think in season 5. So that was the previously on that we're seeing here, which is where he pitched it the first time.
Right.
And then we see a scene... You know, I'm just now realizing that there's probably a lot of gags in here that...
I would have completely go over my head, yes.
Yeah. So what we see here are the furlings.
We are the furlings.
We thought we'd never get to meet you.
Which are essentially sort of Ewoks with koala faces.
Yeah, I kind of got that, yeah.
Which is how the design came together.
It is a straight rip-off from the... I mean, even the tree village and everything. The only difference is that these guys are technologically advanced and they have, like... tree-rimmed computer screens and stuff like that.
Which is what I think Brad Wright said when the pre-production sketches came in, is that, dude, we're going to get sued.
Yeah.
These are Ewoks.
No.
Okay, well, what do you want then? I don't know, dude, like change the head or something. And then the production designer just very quickly photoshopped a koala head onto the Ewok that he designed. Yes, that. Okay, we'll do that. Because the furlings have apparently been mentioned like since deep into season 1 and have never been seen on screen. And it was just a throwaway thing. But
okay.
The writers kept getting asked about the furlings every public appearance for a decade.
When are we going to see the furlings? Right, okay. So
and now you see him in a previously on.
Right, okay, so that's what I was wondering about, because this kind of felt like it was a pastiche show, like I said. And it gets a little bit confusing, because you see the opening shots where Wormhole X-Treme, which has different actors, which we, I think, also see again at the end of the episode. But then we see this shot with the furlings with the actual actors.
Yep.
Of the not actors in the show. This is going to get
the
confusing.
Characters. Yeah. It's sort of like, okay, so I picked this to follow up on Unrealized Realities.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of the same vibe. There's so many like layers of identity and how do you talk about these people and what is real.
I thought I could make it work. The thermodynamic loop is feeding back into the planet's core.
Cut that big space explosion and
where they abandon the furlings. And sorry, and just zap out.
So is there like transporter technology? Is that a thing in Stargate?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Originally it used those rings, but Earth has developed its own space program.
Oh, right, yeah. The rings that suddenly come out of nowhere and come up and down, as we see later in the episode when... we have the invisibility scenes.
And they've encountered other aliens, like integrated those technologies as well.
Yeah, fair enough. So, cut to a writing room scene, basically, where the characters from Stargate 1 are reading through the script that has been produced for the new straight-to-TV movie, or straight-to-cable movie.
Well, that never happened.
Well, you gotta open big, catch people's attention, make them think the whole thing is gonna be jam-packed.
I love jam. Oh, I get it. It's yet another playful twist on words in your Earth language.
Daniel Jackson is super not into it. He's actively hostile.
I don't care.
Sam Carter is just nonplussed.
It makes us look stupid.
Teal'c, I think, is quietly into it.
Yes.
Indeed.
Mitchell is trying to,
is overtly into it.
Come on, it'll be fun.
You know, you say that about everything. Come to think about, why am I doing this?
To make sure that the Air Force is being properly represented, and because General O'Neill has requested you specifically.
Of course he did.
Jackson, how often do we get to give notes on a big Hollywood feature script?
Yes, he's just trying to make himself better. No, this is not based upon you. This is based upon Colonel O'Neill.
Yeah.
I apologize if any coughing makes it through the editing process, but... I've got it a little bit on the lens.
I'll try to avoid it. Well, also apologies if any of the construction sounds that we seem to be
I'm getting new neighbors, and they're moving in on today, apparently. So,
hooray!
So this makes no sense. This is a really weird episode, as is what they're saying.
I don't know. I've been watching a lot of television lately, and apart from one glaring omission, it doesn't seem to be that bad.
And Vala, who is also there, is also kind of into it, but...
She seems extremely bubbly. Was her character like that?
Yep.
Okay,
that's
fair enough. Because that's one of the reasons why I thought it was
playing against type,
a joke. Yeah, that they were just that they were just playing with it.
I love I love that. I'm so glad that I didn't just jump in and tell you what this was.
Right,
that you got to
absolutely.
experience this as a...
I genuinely would not have called this as an actual Stargate episode. I really thought it was a post-production joke, pastiche type thing.
The producers had talked about, okay, what are we going to do for episode 200? Well,
right.
What if we just make it a regular episode and instead we'll do a party for the cast and crew? Okay, then who's going to write it? And then there became sort of a... I don't know, they say that it was difficult to find out who was going to write it. I imagine that there was sort of infighting or maybe a little bit of, I don't know, peacocking about who would get that. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, so the decision was made. Everybody gets a hand on the ball. The entire writer's room, they all contributed some of these sketches from, wild and stupid ideas they thrown around the writer's room.
Right.
And so I think it was Joseph Malozzi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. He later became showrunner for Dark Matter. Also in a Canadian television series. He wrote the Farscape section because he had seen every episode, and he was the only one in the entire production crew who had seen all of Farscape.
In the production crew, yes.
There were two people who've seen, yes.
There were like some consultants on hand.
Weirdly, Martin Woods, who directed the episode, borrowed Joe Malozzi's DVDs to sort of get a feel for what Farscape's like.
Well, it was only like one very short scene, and it was just basically a sum up of...
It was amazing how, this episode fit in the production schedule. It took about as long to film as any episode of SG-1, but it was stupendously more expensive.
Okay.
Those puppets...
Because they had a lot, of course, they had to do a lot of
unique makeups.
Yeah.
The puppets were, I think, $25,000 a piece.
That's quite a lot of money, yeah.
Had all these locations and sets that they went to, and it was okay because it was glued together with scenes mostly in the writer's room, essentially.
Yeah.
I like that Vala is confused, hey...
I've been looking through this, and there doesn't seem to be any mention of a sexy female alien anywhere. I'm not even in this.
Right.
Oh, weird.
Okay,
I'm
and
in this.
Another thing. That's why I was thinking. What I have written down is lead character. She makes a comment about the lead character just being replaced.
Oh, that's Ben actually.
I know, but
Cam.
it's and the way it was played, I thought they just did a actor replacement, and she was the actor replacement. There's no
they had a regular character and they just had her played by
just change the actor and hope nobody will notice. I mean, we've seen that happen in various.
Yeah, they used to do that. Actually, they still do sometimes. Didn't they do that in Sliders?
I think so. They did it in Allo Allo, but then at least they explained it with plastic surgery when Herr Otto Flick was replaced by a different actor. And
I think on 80s sitcoms,
occasionally they would just someone who vaguely looks similar.
Yeah, and then they'd sort of come on screen, and then there'd be a text or a voiceover saying the role of Jiminy Crickets will now be played by...
And yeah, especially that combined with her bubbly acting, Claudia Black's bubbly acting, really made me think that this is an in-joke here about someone being replaced.
It's so wild, because there are in-jokes, but they're everything else. All those other lines, so many of them have tremendous recognizability to either the writers or the fans of the show. I mean, because they're dealing with a movie that's going to be made of this series, which ultimately the movie gets cancelled because the series gets renewed, which happened to Stargate SG-1 5 times.
Yeah. So there's a lot of bickering about the script, how this is not right and that's not correct, and this makes me look bad. This is not about you. This is about O'Neill. That we get that a few times.
But it's Cam, Ben Browder's character, who has active suggestions. He's really into it. He's so on board.
Yes.
He says, you've got to have a big, brash opening title. And immediately Marty goes, no, that's stupid. Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, we go start in media res.
You just show the title and get on with it. Stargate SG-1, and it's done. 5 seconds.
Yes, of course, that doesn't hold him back, because he then starts describing a scene, which is basically a zombie movie. Like this. It's really over-the-top acting, with him shooting guns, cross-shooting guns.
Yes. He's holding. He's. What are they like? Uzis? No, they're MP5s.
No, they're not MP5s. They're too big. No, they're mini Uzis, I think.
Well, they'd be. Hold on, they'd be U.S. Air Force, wouldn't they?
Yeah, so probably not Uzis. But
no, exactly. He's got one in each hand, and he shoots them side to side, and then he dramatically sort of crosses
them and starts shooting more people. Yeah, who's the one who is like get caught in a door? Is that?
It's not a character whose name I know, but he's the bespectacled gentleman who's up in the control room who makes the thing spin.
Spin? Sir, it doesn't spin.
Spinning is so much cooler than not spinning. I'm the general. I want it to spin. Now.
Yes, sir. We call it spinning.
We see him later towards the end of the episode as well when he gets invited to come along.
And sort of like Batman and Robin changes costume while running down the stairs.
That's a fantastic scene, yeah.
Which is a reference to the many times where that actually sort of happened in SG-1, where they sort of give the suggestion, all right, pens down, everybody, we've got to go. And then they continue their conversation, and suddenly they're in full gear. Okay. So this is a terrible idea, and everybody asks him, hey, what's the rest of the crew doing while you're saving the day from the zombies?
It's a little bit of quietness there, and nobody... I noticed that they deliberately used a lot of bad CGI in a lot of those scenes.
There's also some good CGI that you probably didn't notice, which I'll tell you about later on.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But like I said, specifically got it written down as like Ben Browder massively overacting and bad CGI.
Son of a bitch.
Studio executives, huh?
What? Oh, no, Charlie? He's a great guy. He's the only one I trust.
So what's the problem then?
Our lead backed out. And how am I supposed to tell a story without my lead character?
Easy. Just bring in a character to replace him.
Now, this is a reference to Richard Dean Anderson having left the series and it not being sure whether he'd be available because maybe he'd retired from acting. I'm not entirely sure. So
several ideas get thrown around how to like deal with this suddenly main actor disappearing.
So what if he's invisible? And then we can sort of have him there, but...
And we get a lengthy scene about, like, basically O'Neill being invisible. And then, like, remember that one time when this happened.
And he loves it. He's pranking everyone by making a dog drive a car. The dog seems, like...
chill about it.
Yeah, like apparently this is what we're doing now, or pretending to be a chair and snoring somewhere.
He's also being a little bit of a creep.
Yeah. A shower where Samantha Carter goes,
Sir, are you there?
Nope.
And then there's a scene where he, while invisible, has a conversation with Teal'c while a coffee cup
is floating around. Yep.
And so the writer sort of asked the director, okay, how are we gonna do that? It's gonna be CGI. Nah, that'll look too cheap. You can never match it to the lighting. Do we have it on strings? Well, again, also sort of fake. We'll just have a guy in a green Zentai suit holding it, and we'll paint out the guy.
That works.
And then when production actually started, Richard Dean Anderson was available. And they were shooting this scene during the day that he was
available.
And he didn't have anything to do while this...
So they put him in the green Zentai suit.
This is actually Richard Dean Anderson returned to the series and he was painted out of the frame.
It kind of reminds me of that scene in 2001 where they had where they're doing the simulated zero gravity thing. And you've got when they're on the shuttle going to the space station, and there's this flight attendant walking around the cabin, which using her Velcro stick soles, and she's moving around. And there's this pen floating around, and she eventually grabs the pen. But that scene was done by basically gluing the pen to a pane of glass, and then moving that in front of the camera, and like it was floating around in 0G.
Oh, brilliant!
There's here's the rings we were talking about, the rings which just like appear from the top of the screen. We don't see how they come into existence or anything. And now we are teleporting.
So not having a solution to this problem. They get rescued. Hooray. And we can just move on with our lives. Everybody goes downstairs, magically transforms into their traveling clothes. And Cam is very excited because this is going to be his 200th time through the...
Right. And so now I understand that constant reference to the 200 because it was the 200th episode.
Yeah. This is gonna be huge. The big 200.
Yes, okay, that makes sense now. And everybody likes to point out that this is not his 200th mission.
No,
it's just the 200th time that he has stepped through a gate.
Which
so it's probably his
mid-mission multi-planetary
right. So it's probably
gates.
his somewhere between his 40th or 50th mission.
Yeah,
because you divide that by half, and like most missions you go through a gate more than so it's like probably somewhere between mission 40 and 50.
And also that one time that he was just stepping through and someone called his name and he stepped back, which in his mind counts.
Yeah, because he was counting them. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
No, the gate shuts down.
Just doesn't work.
Fix it.
Quickly.
I'm on it.
Indeed.
So they have to go back in the room.
How come this has been working for years, and why does it suddenly not work? And
no idea.
No.
I guess it just doesn't. Well, later on, Samantha Carter has a fantastic bit of technobabble, which Marty goes, "Whoa, that's amazing! Say that again."
Power's getting through to the capacitors, but for some reason the charge isn't holding. That's causing the control crystal to send feedback into the interface and reset the programming code of the base computer's dialing protocol.
Whoa! That was awesome. Say that again.
And she says,
"No."
Nope.
No.
This is classified. You're not putting this in the show.
Yes. Okay, also
flux capacitor, I heard, definitely there.
The power getting to the flux capacitor, but feedback is not feeding back into the feedback face. This is gold.
Yeah, that was Marty trying to write down what he remembered. He heard capacitor. Marty, he is apparently himself an alien doing his best.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. It's like there's a discussion between Claudia Black's character
Vala,
and Marty. Like when she's like, "Oh, there's no alien here," and like. I think we actually skipped over that part where there's a whole discussion, or is that still coming?
It's still coming.
Where
There's
she's
so much in this episode.
I mean, she confesses that she's been watching a lot of TV, and whenever time she's pitching an idea, it is clearly a rip-off. The first time it's The Wizard of Oz.
I was in a stolen cargo ship on my way home when the solar flare from a nearby star wreaked havoc with my navigation system, and I was forced to crash land on the nearest planet. In a bizarre twist of fate, I crashed right on top of the Goa'uld who ruled that planet, which was fortunate because my ship was too badly damaged to repair and I needed help. The local villagers were very grateful. They introduced me to a lovely, fair-haired Tok'ra who had been hiding out on the planet. She told me the legend of a powerful ascended being who supposedly lived in some distant, far-off mountains through a treacherous forest.
Look, I don't have all day. Cut to the chase.
All right. I met up with a number of my friends along the way, and after a dangerous and eventful journey, we finally come face to face with the ascended being.
What can I do for you?
Well, at first I thought I just wanted to go home, but now I've decided I'd quite like to be a part of something. A regular part, if you catch my drift. Oh, and these guys have their own issues. Boys?
And I mean, I caught onto it immediately in the first scene, but it gets a little bit more subtle and it gets cut off quicker as well. But we're on a 3-hour rescue mission. Oh, that's Gilligan's Island.
You got that from 3-hour recon. Okay. They're running across the field being chased by these little
Bad
robots.
CGI.
Also, it was also 2009.
Fair. Okay, I admit that's a problem when we're watching this stuff so many years in the future. It becomes very hard to tell whether or not it was good CGI or bad CGI for the time. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Farscape, the CGI still holds up. All the external shots, it's a little bit occasionally when they're dealing with parallax and stuff.
But it's all of it's highly stylized.
Right.
Even
so
the regular
helps.
interior is shot. And so it's consistent. Take something like Battlestar Galactica, where that was also, sometimes quite difficult. I thought that in the later seasons, the Cylon Centurions didn't necessarily look as good as earlier on because you would just see them more and in daylight. And earlier on, they too were kept more in shadow. And
you see them in the pilot when they walk onto the space station. Followed by Caprica 6. Was it Caprica 6 or another 6? Not sure, really.
I think it was Caprica 6.
It seems to be, because the whole sensuous nature that she seems to have, which not a lot of the other Capricas have.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a lot of the other 6s have.
Then again, hold on. No, Caprica 6 was on mission. She was already infiltrated. She was embedded.
Oh, yeah, at the time that thing happened, so it would have been another 6.
She wouldn't have had the opportunity to resurrect and reinsert into Caprica.
No, very good
And
point.
we're accidentally doing a Battlestar Galactica podcast instead of doing a Stargate podcast on our Farscape podcast.
Oh, no, well.
Oh, no, we only have 10 seconds to get to the gate. And we have to cross this huge valley with 20 spaceships.
Okay, this could be a problem.
And no sign of the gate. And next shot is we're stepping out through the gate. Well, that was easy.
That was close, huh?
Sauntering through. I'm like, And this was a reference from the writers to the studio executives who literally kept sending them notes, more Jeopardy plus ticking clock equals entertainment.
Okay, I guess that's like where a lot of Marty's comments that he keeps making are probably just like things taken directly from what the studio execs have been saying.
Oh, yeah, he's the gestalt entity for all the writers. Because, this is something that really does typify SG-1, like setting up these stakes and a sort of time limit and keeping that in your mind as you race toward the end, and then, you get a resolution.
I mean, that kind of keeps going. I mean, like, Stargate Universe has a lot of that as well, actually. Like, we're running out of air, we're running out of time, the ship is going to jump, there's still a lot of that in there.
Yes, but I think it feels just different. Like, it feels less manufactured. Like, I feel this with Farscape as well. Because Farscape, I mean, it doesn't really do the ticking clock.
No, rarely ever.
Right, setting up stakes and then the portal's going to close or this is going to explode. Or,
wormholes, but they come and go as the plot requires.
Sure.
So there's it's going to run out, we have to hurry. That almost never happens.
It's usually, like, character-driven and often by, like, conflicting characters who are making their own decisions, and you sort of follow these decision trees as they interact. I happen to like that a lot better.
Yeah.
I guess that's why Farscape is my favorite.
I mean, just like, fake stakes. I mean, it shows up immediately. Like, like, why is this bomb ticking, I
mean, it's still entertaining. It's just, I think, from a different era or a different...
also, we're getting older, so that might also have something to do with it.
Yeah, we're developing better taste, you mean? Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a bit dicey, but,
Okay, I think we're leading into... Oh, yeah. No, it's coming later, but okay, we'll just do it in any order.
Yes.
Where
Mintaka 3.
Oh, very good callback.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
we
you
haven't
go.
done that in a long time.
The Treaty of Mintaka 3, all the actors are apparently withholding their assent until they get some more money, and so some executive has suggested recasting everyone with younger, edgier characters.
Oh, yes. That scene.
And it becomes Wormhole X-Teen, I guess? Teen Extreme?
Yo, dog, what you do that for?
Dude, that hot chick was so totally a go.
Duh, I was still gonna tap that.
You don't appreciate me, do you?
I think you're so totally awesome.
Chill, T. I'm like translating as fast as I can.
It does look a bit.
Wormhole
I mean, like
Extreme
I'm probably thinking
Adventures
20 somethings, but not teen. Well, maybe
and
teenagers
all
played
sort
by
of
20 somethings.
snogging and calling each other bro and like dealing with very emotional stakes. Like,
I'm so sick of being treated like some sort of object to be worshipped. I'm a real person with real feelings.
No. I don't think Mitchell likes me anymore.
I'm pregnant.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
But yeah, this is where Vala sort of pins Marty down and pitches a very good version, I think, of The Wizard of Oz with Landry as Oz the Great and Powerful and Samantha Carter as the good witch / Tok'ra.
That's when I noticed that's when she actually starts wearing the pigtails. Like, she's got the double braid first.
Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly it goes into pigtails.
She's full Dorothy Gale.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
And Teal'c, yeah, as the Tin Man, like with his weird little nose thing. It's like, he just looks so unimpressed. It's like,
oh, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Especially the makeup department must have been having a ball.
Hell yeah. I didn't look up who's on the makeup department. I'm such a fan of Dave Elsey. Like, it almost feels adulterous to really look into
other makeup artists.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's my bishi.
So, yes, meanwhile, the gate is repaired, but things blow up, people are sent to go running, a Cheyenne mountain explodes, and, oh yeah, that's how Act 2 is going to end.
Yes.
It's like I thought it was very well done because they played they played completely straight, like because they have been having gate problems and like they suddenly go like gates repaired. Yeah, how they keep playing between the actors who are playing the characters and the real characters.
Yes,
it's like they really mess with you during the entire episode.
Oh, these. The only little sort of break there is when the electrician gets knocked around and...
Why does this always happen to me?
Yeah, because you're the stunt coordinator, dude, and you do this every episode. You have a special machine just for launching your muscular buttocks across this specific room. Yeah, also something that apparently, like, the writers had wanted to blow up Cheyenne Mountain in some kind of, alternate timeline or parallel thing, and the U.S. Air Force vets all of these episodes.
Okay.
And actually has veto on some things that are, like, procedurally too accurate or too inaccurate.
Right.
And they sort of vetoed the idea of Cheyenne Mountain being destroyed because it's impenetrable and such.
Right, yeah.
And by season 10, they were sort of over that. It's sci-fi.
I wonder if it actually says Cheyenne Mountain Complex over the door, if they just made that up.
I was looking for a joke, but I'm still, I was a UX designer in the past, and I was just realizing, they probably have a style guide for exactly, like, what kind of labeling needs to go where. And there are just rules that if you cross this kind of barrier, you have to have visibility of this kind of sign saying that information. So
I'd also like to compare this to, like, something like War Games and see if this is, like, actual Cheyenne Mountain footage or if they just have a standard set that they use for Cheyenne Mountain, like, where they just have some road tunnel, which they know, like, this kind of looks about right, and they just, like, dress it up.
I think the latter.
Probably.
I think the latter. I think, like, you're not... As a citizen, I think you're not allowed to take photos of military installations, and I think maybe Cheyenne Mountain is one of them.
But every photo taken by a U.S. military person working observer is automatically in the public domain unless it's classified as secret or top secret.
Oh, yeah.
So...
But then what's the commercial usage license of... I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know. But
Marty would know.
Go for Marty.
Although, he seems extremely competent, but he doesn't get it quite right. Like, he talks about, throw out ideas, and he calls it...
We call it spinning.
Instead of spitballing.
Right.
And when something seems too convenient, like you have a character mention it, and you
hang a lantern on it.
It's no lampshading.
Yes, exactly. He talks about, like, it's not just the writers, it's the whole crew. It's the gaffers, it's the lighting guys. Which are the gaffers? Yeah. Those are the same job. And then the next scene.
Okay, where were we?
Scene 24.
Oh, great. One of my favorite scenes.
Is fucking Star Trek.
Yes.
I'm picking up a strange energy anomaly, Colonel. It appears the singularity is about to explode.
Weapons or at maximum.
Damn it, Cap! Solar flare. We've got a shockwave headed straight for us.
Can you reverse the polarity?
I'll do my best.
Engine room. Warp speed.
Take us out of here. Now.
I'm giving it all I got, Captain, but you're expecting a bloody miracle.
Wait, hang on.
It's a very remarkable change of scenery, of decor, really. With, Teal'c wearing his, like, Star Trek uniform, which, like, actually quite looks a lot like Star Trek Discovery style,
Well, I don't think any of them expose quite so much cleavage as he does. That was his idea, by the way. He wanted to go full Ricardo Montalban.
It's down to his belly button, almost.
Mm-hmm. It's a very deep V.
I mean, like, if you have a physique like that, I can imagine that you want to show it off, especially if you get hired for having a physique like that and showing it off.
Christopher Judge. Beautiful man. And a quick cameo from, let me see, I think it's Brad Wright, one of the executive producers and creators, who plays Scotty there briefly.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering about that.
His acting debut.
Didn't recall that actor being in there. So, yes, there's a little bit of discussion like, this is just Star Trek. Like, well, yes, no, but yes, and no, it's Star Trek.
Yeah, and, like, these things make no sense. Weapons at maximum?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That just sounds cool. The audience loves weapons at maximum, and it's, like, more, like, it tests well with the focus groups.
The demographics. Yeah. And then Cam comes in and says, well, actually...
Never underestimate your audience. They're generally sensitive, intelligent people who respond positively to quality entertainment.
They're intelligent and, like, literally speaking to the fans of the show.
Yeah.
Which is actually really heartfelt and nice and not responded to by anyone.
I do not understand why everything in this script must inevitably explode.
And then Vala corners Marty again to pitch the reason that I wanted to show you and your boyfriend this, by the way. This is part of your boyfriend's bizarre canon of those few episodes of Farscape things that he has seen.
Yes.
The Farscape crossover.
Yeah, Marty basically gets pitched another idea by Vala, and he goes like, oh no, that's way too obvious. Like, oh, this is the scene where she tries...
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island, yes,
you got
thank
that from that?
Piece of advice. If you're going to rip something off, think of something a little more obscure.
And then we get...
Call me Farbot, but they're gonna have our move-ons on a platter if we don't. Starburst the dries out of here.
House has been damaged. We're not going anywhere.
Oh, Dren.
Asmana!
Pharrell.
Oh, son of Hazmot!
Yachts!
This
Farscape,
amazing sequence.
It is brilliant.
We've got Teal'c as Dargo. We've got Carter as Chiana.
Is that Carter? Okay, yeah. Comes staggering in. Very well done, actually. Actually shows about like the right amount of cleavage that we got from...
Teal'c as Dargo, yeah, we got that as well. We've got Vala as Aaron.
Of course.
And then we've got Daniel Jackson as John Crichton, confusingly.
Yes. Who is who does what's his name again?
Ben Browder is Stark. Or
Stark, right? Yes, that's the one I was wondering about. Like, who did Stark? I didn't catch that in the short shot, but yeah, okay, that's
because originally, like, it was written for him to be John Crichton again, and then he and Michael Shanks is the actor who plays Daniel Jackson's sort of asked to be swapped.
Yeah,
in part because like they didn't want to play it too straight because that would sort of feel, I guess, weird.
Disingenuous, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad of that.
Yeah.
And also, Ben Browder he has a huge man crush on Paul Goddard, who plays Stark.
Oh, okay.
He just absolutely loves him as an actor. He, like, campaigned to have more of Stark on the show.
Which we're still waiting for his return, aren't we?
Ah, well, you know how people just die in shows and then they stay dead.
And you never see them again. Get put on the bus. Oh, I have to go do things. And then he goes singing in the opera at...
Also, we just saw him a few episodes ago in Don Quixote.
Sure, but that was like not real Stark.
No, but okay. But at least it was Paul Goddard. And it was also Anthony Simcoe.
True.
No,
I mean,
Lani Tupu.
Rigel looks a bit more like a grey, except a bit more of a green-grey.
Yes,
with
that's
some...
an Asgardian. It's a Stargate thing. It's
okay, right, fair enough.
This is very good. You know, it's a proper alien. He's got weird moustaches.
And he's got, I mean, in that case, yeah, he was pretty good. And he got the purple robes and everything.
Yeah.
And I love Martin's response going like, okay, I have no idea where that's from. It's like...
My buddy Rue, Telegram, when I was promoting this episode, he said, I love that the only way they could make a joke about Farscape that their audience would understand is to joke about the fact that they won't understand it, which is really accurate.
Fair point, yeah.
Oh, I love Stark's extremely Australian accent that Ben Browder gets to do.
Oh, son of Hazmot!
And I think, with the exception of son of a Hazmot, all of these words that they say are Farscape words.
Yeah, yachts is the only thing that Rigel gets to say.
Hesmana, Freldren.
Yeah, throwing basically all the curse words around that you normally hear around Farscape.
And the proximity alerts, like every time that they get jostled, Aaron and John sort of grab each other. Okay, well, we've had that. We have the important part of the episode. Now we can sort of phone the rest in.
Okay.
Wait,
what? No,
that was a joke.
Well, it is actually a joke that gets thrown around in this episode as well.
You know, a lot of people say he just kind of phoned it in that last season.
I think it is in reference to Richard Dean Anderson disappearing, because like there's a comment about like just phoning it in the appearance.
So apparently there are layers and layers to these references. That was not a critique of Richard Dean Anderson in the last season. It was a combination of his departure and Michael Shanks being sort of largely absent in season 6 and like literally appearing on the phone.
Okay, right.
When
Hang on, who's Martin Shanks?
Oh, Michael Shanks is Daniel Jackson.
Oh, right, yeah. The linguist, yes.
Yeah, the sort of studly linguist.
who is like very serious about the pyramids and like the ring that they found around the pyramids, and this obviously means that there must be alien involvement. And this is like we're talking about the puppet scene, which is about to come up.
Which we learned from the puppet scene because they'd just seen Team America: World Police.
Yeah.
And they got the puppets from I think they're Chodo brothers. They're the puppet makers, and these cost a fortune per puppet, and they just spent the money on it. Even apparently, like the puppeteers rehearsed for 2 days to get Richard Dean Anderson's specific like pointing to the sky gesture.
Right.
That apparently he's done a few times.
So what's it? Hang on, what's that called again? Like the puppet vision that they used for
Super Mario Nation.
Super Mario, that's the one. Yes.
Yeah, Jerry Anderson's as used on Thunderbird and Captain Scarlet, and oh wow, this has been a candidate. This was another candidate for this very Greatest Hiatus. I think it's called Space Precinct, a live-action puppet-based sci-fi pilot. By Jerry Anderson and the Super Mario Nation.
Wow. So yeah, the idea, this shows up because apparently the budget has been cut and we have problems. We're still dealing with the return of Richard Dean Anderson's character, Admiral O'Neill.
Yeah, in this case, like represented by Nick Marlowe, the actor who plays so many layers. Do you know I once wrote a story with a character called Nicky Marlowe?
Sorry, what?
I once wrote a story with a character called Nicky Marlowe, and here's an actor called Nick Marlowe.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Small world.
Probably completely unrelated.
I love that Daniel Jackson. I mean, they're basically doing a puppet version of the original Roland Emmerich Stargate.
Yes.
Where he comes in and he writes on a whiteboard.
And he just scribbles all over the place.
It's a puppet hand scribbling. And he does the famous thing where he pulls up one of the chevrons on a screen and then
tries to draw over it.
It's just fucking gibberish. It's amazing.
I mean, why would you even draw over it? Like, it's right there on the screen. Why would you just, like, then redraw the same chevron on the screen?
It was cool.
Okay, fair enough.
It was cool. Because, no, he draws some extra lines around the chevron that they see on the screen.
Okay, that helps then, yeah. And there's a few more puppet-related gags there. I mean, I really loved the scene where, what's her name? Samantha Carter's character... Sorry, Samantha cheat. Sorry, yeah, it's really useful. Like, goes off on a science thing and this and that, and tapping away at the computer. Quick little
fading in and out of what was hours and hours of.
Well, at first glance, I suspect the device creates a stable wormhole between superconducting rings that have been placed in fixed positions elsewhere. Converts matter into energy at the event horizon. Once the initial vortex has subsided, of course. And just because my sex organs are on the inside instead of the outside doesn't mean that I can't handle. Provided, of course, that sufficient energy has been channeled to the device and that the correct coordinates have been calculated.
And just because my reproductive organs on the inside,
yes, very feminist take suddenly all of a sudden.
I mean, not even like super. Just why is this necessary to bring up? Because this is a bit of a sausage fest. Is science fiction in general and Stargate in particular.
But yes, they managed to get the gate fired up, and I was waiting for this to happen.
Really?
Yes, I was sitting there like, okay, how are puppets going to move through a gate? So, and the fact that they actually get their strings cut and
they flop down dead,
and you can see their strings still dangling on the other side.
So this is where the really good CGI comes in. In a lot of these shots, the strings didn't show up and had to be CGI'd in.
Oh wow!
So the opposite of wire removal.
Yes, okay, fair. I mean, they should just use thicker wires if they don't show up on camera. But yeah, fair enough. I noticed a lot of the wires were quite floppy, but I figured like that's just my lack of knowledge about puppeteering. But you'd imagine that most of the wires are going to be taut most of the time.
I have no idea how it works. I mean, lip sync was done very well.
Yeah.
Imagine if this is an unrealized reality, like they talk about, parallel universe, multiverse, quantum.
Yes, so everybody now looks like puppets. Marty decides like, no, this will never work. Shoots it down like he's a negative Nancy for someone who at the beginning says like, all ideas are open, and
he only wants ideas that like people didn't actually give that he made into ideas, and everything else he rejects.
Yes. He's, very much against what he claims to do.
Including Teal'c PI.
When it comes to fighting crime, there's only one man keeping the streets safe, while keeping it real. Indeed. Teal'c PI, coming this fall.
I love it. I'm just not sure if the network. But I'll pitch it to them next week, and we'll see what they think.
Not gonna happen.
No, exactly. Voiced over by Isaac Hayes, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, of Shaft fame.
Mm.
And apparently Scientology. I don't know exactly
Ooh,
how
dear.
that sweets out. And then they go, no, there needs to be a twist.
I'm talking about a twist. Something nobody's expecting.
You mean something like this?
Such as the sudden appearance of Richard Dean Anderson.
Yes.
Which, if you'd been a fan of Stargate SG-1, would have been a huge twist.
Right, because he was out of the series.
And then they immediately hang a lantern on it by talking about, oh, no, you're never going to keep that a secret. There'll be spoilers. No, they'll put it in the commercial.
Yes. I mean,
That's what sci-fi did, man.
Oh, yeah.
They did it to Farscape. They did it to... there was an episode called Solitude where they're stuck on in a glacier on an alien planet, and then the fourth act reveal is, oh, no, they're in Alaska or Antarctica, and this is like stuck in a glacier on Alaska or Antarctica or something. And yes, his appearance was absolutely used in the commercials
because they want people to come see. And but this is a thing that we see a lot, especially in Hollywood production these days. That the trailer pretty much gives the entire movie away.
Yeah, I think my favorite example of that is The Negotiator, which this essentially the whole film is in there.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it, but
Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson, I think.
Okay. And yeah, there's basically nothing left to be. Yeah. Oh well, I mean, we can talk about it, but I guess these people are the ones who are making the millions, so they must know what they're doing. And if it's not like, if it's feeding our disappointment is what makes the movie make money, then apparently this is what Hollywood does.
Yep.
Like, we're not about satisfying people; we're about making money. We're not about providing interesting experience. We're not about providing people with wow moments. We're just about making money.
You can't say that out loud because fucking James Cameron's going to sort of drop kick his way through your French doors and convince you otherwise, because I have seen Avatar: The Way of Water, and oh my god, that is quite an experience. And also
Is there anything memorable about it? I mean, other than the fact that it looks fantastic. I mean, that's like what I hear about the original Avatar. Everybody's like, oh, it's a fantastic movie. Name me one quote. One quote from the original movie.
What? Why does that... Hold on. Why does that matter?
Exactly. That's the whole point. It's like there's nothing memorable in it. It looks fantastic, but that's it.
Okay, but it is a fantastic experience, which is the whole thing. Like he.
And why would James Cameron bother with the likes of me slagging about the fact that Hollywood is just not about making money?
He spent 13 years making this film.
He spends on average 13 years making any film.
I know, but reinventing new technologies and
Good for
training
him.
his actors.
I still hate him for it.
There's apparently no limit to what he'll do
I
to
still
provide people.
Hate James Cameron for Avatar.
Kicking the door in and convincing you personally, and I will protect you, and I will die protecting you. I will definitely die because he's a diabolical Canadian.
I'll tell you why I hate him for making Avatar. It's because it turned 3D cinema into a thing. And I absolutely detest 3D cinema, because most of 3D cinema is just gimmicks. I've sit there, watched movies on my TV, and this scene makes no sense. Why would they put in a shot like that? And then you realize, oh wait, because it looked cool in 3D.
May I posit
an
alternate hypothesis?
Yeah.
The 3D wave was already happening.
Oh, okay.
It was already happening.
Let's get back to
let's do a quick round.
Let's have a Twitter poll among our listeners
of rock, paper, scissors for whether we cut this entire bit out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Okay, well that's okay. It's a draw.
It's 3, 2, 1, go, or
yeah, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay,
3, 2, 1, go. Fuck. Oh my God, we're like the two Johns.
Yes, we are.
Okay, it stays in. It
stays in. So we threw up rock, paper, scissors, and we tied twice.
Double scissors, double rocks. Wow. It's not just Woodies that we're smashing against each other. Apparently, we're just two halves of one brain. What an amazing... Oh, look at that. 45 minutes we just spent talking about Avatar.
Well, that means we've just... Well, that wasn't just about Avatar. Anyway... Back to the series.
So how are we going to end it? And Richard Dean Anderson's, well, you could end with a fishing scene. This is a reference to the ending of season 8.
I assumed there was something like that, yeah.
Yep, I'm just explaining it for you and the people at home, where all the characters were fishing, and that could have served as the end of the series.
Right.
And then it pans to the side and shows Ben Browder and Claudia Black's characters as if they were there, which they clearly weren't.
You weren't even there. It's like, what are you doing there? Yes. Well, how about a wedding scene then? Why don't we end it with a wedding?
Everybody loves a wedding, say the girls.
Yeah, there's like some weird things going on there. Like there's, what's his name again? Oh, he's not on my cheat sheet.
Glasses.
The glasses guy, yeah.
Who's very emotional.
Yes, we love weddings.
It's just summer cold, sir.
I mean, they must have really worked Anderson quite hard if he was only available for one day. Because O'Neill and Jackson are standing there.
He's wearing the green Sendai under his suit.
Is he? Or did you just make that up? Yeah.
No.
And they're standing there like, well, if she doesn't show up anytime soon, they might think that you're hired.
What?
We're getting married, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
An oblique reference that would easily be missed by many people because this was for a much more conservative audience generally than sexually liberated Farscape, which even there.
But no, the girls beam in. Hang on, which one is this? I guess it's Carter and and Vala beam in. Vala as the bridesmaid, and another alien pastor. Is that again one of the whatchamacallits?
Yeah, I think it's Asgardian. I don't know. Kvasir? Why do I know his name?
It looks like a grey, basically.
Yeah. Fit for a grey.
Yeah, usually they're a bit pudgier, aren't they? Yeah. Anyway, wedding scene also gets shut down, of course, but fortunately the Stargate has been repaired.
Yep.
It is working again, and we are all going on this. There's a few like weird little hints, like is everything all right? Like the party, including the party poppers and the streamers.
Okay. So I'm going to have to talk you through this because I hadn't remembered this at all, and I kind of love it.
Yeah.
So O'Neill talks General Landry, General.
Yeah.
Into, hey, why don't you come along as well?
I never come along
because he'd finally sort of realized, like,
lately I've been feeling a little. What? How do I say it?
It's okay to say that you missed us, sir.
No, not that. Like you have unfinished business? Okay.
You need closure, and I have the perfect thing. We're about to go on a mission to commemorate my 200th trip through the gate.
Really? 200, you say?
That's 200 times he's stepped through the gates, sir, not actual missions.
To be honest, I wouldn't mind one last jaunt through the old orifice.
Right. Yeah, then we get that scene where he's like basically
he's
running away from the controls and like by the time
he sort of Dick Grayson's into his costume, and then General Landry and Glasses dude, I'm so sorry. Sort of have a okay. So is everything ready? Yeah.
SG-3 through 18 are waiting, sir.
The cake.
It's all set. Balloons, streamers, the works.
SG-3 through 18 are already waiting for us on the other side. They've got the barbecue set up, the
Yeah.
party poppers, because they're all going to celebrate
The
Cam's
200th
200th thing. And apparently, like, all these Stargate malfunctions were probably manufactured to give them more time to set up the
okay, that
party.
makes sense, yeah. We get another gorgeous shot of the Stargate being activated.
The Kawoosh.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
The Kawoosh Bloosh? I mean, it looks a bit like Poseidon's Kiss always, but you know, I'm not going to like Google it. It's
okay. Wow. Should we bleep that out, maybe?
No, not
to ensure
really.
that nobody Googles it.
No, not really. It's not that bad.
Okay.
Do you want me? Okay, I'll tell you now, so you can decide whether or not.
And then we'll have a quick round of rock, paper, scissors.
So Poseidon's Kiss is when you're sitting on the toilet.
Oh God.
No,
enough.
You know what I'm talking about now?
I don't,
Okay.
and I want to keep it that way.
Fair enough.
And we go through the portal. Actually, just before we go through the portal, Marty gets another call and goes, "Oh no, the movie's cancelled." And everybody just,
But the show's back on.
Yeah, because the show's been renewed. And then 10 years later.
And let's count everybody down as a wrap on the 200th episode.
Nice job, everybody.
It cuts to a scene of the actors having just finished a shot.
Yeah. Wormhole X-Treme has apparently gone on for another 10 years.
It's weird because, like, okay, so you have the scene of the gate, but also, and on the other side is like a bunch of Christmas trees making it to look like a forest.
Yeah.
But I wonder when they would ever need a setup like that, because I mean, you always have the gate is always like the rippling water effect, so you would never actually need a shot of the camera pulling back through the gate or back forward through the gate to...
The sort of horizon, I think it's called, dissipates after they go through, after they turn it off. So you can often see through when they're on a planet or a location.
Can you? Mm-hmm. Oh, through the ring, but like... No, I get what you mean. You can see through the ring when the ring's not there. But in this case, you have the Stargate control center on one side and the planet on the other side, and you would never see that.
That makes no sense.
You would never see the planet through the ring from the control center. So that's why right, yeah.
That would have been cool. No, you're completely right there. And then we finish with some interviews with these supposed actors.
Little confessionals. Where we've got this weird... I mean, who's this guy who's like supposed to be Ben Browder, I suppose?
I think he's supposed to be Ben Browder. He's talking about like coming up with a catchphrase.
He keeps going, hampering on about a catchphrase.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
And then there's some guy who's supposed to be, I think, O'Neill, and a woman who's kind of like, well, not Carter, but Carter's actress, Amanda Tapping, like...
Oh, writers are really great guys. All of them. Men, Yeah, it's a bit of a boys' club.
Right, isn't that supposed to be Vala? I mean, it's like she's got the whole bubbly nature about it, but...
I think it's... she's in uniform.
Right, true. And who's the beardy moustachy guy?
I think that's supposed to be O'Neill, despite the fact that he looks younger than...
Okay, fair enough.
Ben Browder. And it ends weirdly with incredible sincerity, where this Tin Man made up version of pretend Teal'c has this lovely quote from Isaac Asimov about the value of science fiction. Which I really adored.
Well, I mean, yes, it's like often not understood by the people at the time, but always turning out to be prophetic later on in the future, I believe. You see that a lot with, with good sci-fi. That's exactly what it is. So this was quite a ride, and like I'm still kind of surprised that it was an actual Stargate episode.
Regular schedule, just stupendously expensive, and a lot of it was puppets. Apparently, like they wanted another scene to really break the fourth wall, like in Blazing Saddles, but they couldn't afford horses.
Okay,
horses are expensive apparently compared to puppets.
I think renting them would be cheaper, but
why would you buy horses as a television show?
I don't know. I guess the network might have a few on hand for use for it, but it's probably a bit cheaper to keep like good
They're
contacts
day players,
with them.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Can be real.
Never work. What was it again? Never work with children or animals or puppets. I think there was something that was like
children and animals. Yeah, which goes for like theater, film, and I think most farm equipment. Oh no, hold on. That joke doesn't make sense because farms do have animals on them. Never mind.
Right. Yes. So there was a third one. Never work with children, animals, or firearms. I don't know.
Yikes! If someone had told that to Stargate, it just wouldn't exist anymore. I mean, there's the gag that in Star Trek: The Next Generation, like, oh no, this is a primitive culture. We can't contaminate them. We can't give them our technology. And then in Stargate SG-1 is, all your gods are false. Here, take these guns.
Yes,
which is sort of gets a lantern hung on when they talk to Cam, the new guy, about mission 30185 that they can't tell him about. No, it's classified.
I've got the highest classification that you can possibly have. How can you not tell me about it?
And then Vala goes,
can you tell me?
Oh, yeah, we can tell you.
What has to do with the time that the gate sent us back to 1969?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah,
because they have the highest class, security rating on the planet, and routinely go to other planets and just casually disgorge the nation's most best kept secret, like their super space program that is secret from everyone on their planet. No, they'll just casually mention this to some diplomats that they just met.
Yeah, it turns out that, like, I think the implication is that
it's some timey-wimey thing.
That Cam Mitchell is O'Neill's son.
Yeah, because they'd gone back to like
the 1960s, and it was a different time, and he just basically knocked somebody up. And it turns out to be exactly 9 months before he was born. So
I wonder if that's an actual episode. If they actually sort of did a timey-wimey thing where they had to go back to the 70s and dress up like a bunch of hippies and sluts.
I don't know. I told you like how much Stargate I've watched. I can't say that it's been all that much.
Would you want to see it?
If it's there, I'd love to see it.
Right. All these hot people dressed as 70s nerds and sluts.
Yeah. So, yes, that was a great episode. It's like...
Here comes the challenge.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
All right, so my willy is quite easy. Don't choke on it.
Despite what people say about you, yes, go on.
It's the young edgier versions of the original.
Oh, God,
that was so cringe.
Oh,
they played that so
don't
well.
Don't say cringe. That's a teen thing that they say.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the young, edgier version, so
true.
Cringe is totally. But that was hilarious. But it also really made me like, oh my god, this is like too on point.
Yeah. And the rapid editing and the flashy camera moves.
Yeah, so
the actors were having fun though.
Oh, totally. Who were again we're just like. Actors just shot for that one little bit part, or was it the same actors were actually made?
No, I think
they actually got different actors for that, right? Yeah.
I don't really have a willy, which is, I guess, is a weird thing to say, but
yes, I mean I've heard rumors about the contrary, but okay, Woodies then. Let's see. I've got a couple of candidates.
One of the candidates is like the puppet trying to draw on the whiteboard, and it's just gibberish.
I mean, okay, so the Farscape backtake, that's like
of course
obviously a very obvious one. The other
it's
one
almost mandatory.
The other one is like the Act 3 that just suddenly ends.
That was
which
mine!
But I think the one that goes to the puppets like going through the portal and their strings cutting and that's like just falling over.
That is so confronting.
That is such a brilliant gag. That definitely gets my Woody.
Mine too. Yeah. Because now there's this whole unrealized reality out there somewhere where the gate system just can't be used by beings that have strings.
Yes. Oh wow. And yeah. Okay.
Right, so who built it? Some stringless mystical creature who ascended to a plane of existence where they're
unstringiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Talk about string theory.
What about like hand puppets? No, they couldn't go through the gate either. Because then you'd have the same problem.
Wow. Except it would be way more gory.
All right, so.
Okay. Well.
I say.
Oh, shit. We had synopses.
I wasn't aware of that.
Guys, I'm sorry.
You told people about this episode. And
yesterday, I went on Twitter and I did a sort of blast. Does anybody have...
So were you counting on the fact that I wasn't going to be on Twitter yesterday?
Well, you don't pay attention to the So Farscape Twitter, do you?
I'm following it, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, oops.
But I was in the car all day yesterday, so it's like it was very easy for me to miss, yeah.
Okay, well, let's see real quick what some of these synopses were.
All right. So, let's see. Everybody's favorite tinfoil hat is back after who knows how long, and he's in a creative pickle. With the Stargate on the fritz, the crew tries their hand at studio pitches, and... maybe it's for the best. They're saving the world on planets lightyears away from any kind of show business. Thank you, Horseburd.
Oh, and thrust into a new unrealized reality. See, it's not just me. The astronaut must escape from the movie executive through a big round thing, but he just refuses to be cool and doesn't spin. So he ventures through other realities controlled by the executive and the astronaut's new team in order to get home. Thank you, Tonks.
Oh. So, I think we press this button.
And that's the story. So Stargate.
I guess we're going to go with that. Please join us next week for another episode, for another fanfic reading, and the week after that for episode 412, which I have no idea what it's called.
Kansas.
Oh, part 2. Yes.
And the synopsis is:
this is ground control to Major John. And I'm going to have to do a little backtracking because, I've just been away for 2 weeks and I'm, woefully behind on that.
Yeah. Well, I have an idea for that because I've just edited 410. So how about you edit 411 and then you can sort of remember what happened.
That sounds like a very good idea.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us. And this is where you do your pitch.
Thank you for listening to So Stargate. You can find us at So Stargate on Facebook and Twitter. Good luck with that. I wonder if that's actually a thing. SoStargate.com. And now I wonder if I should continue this joke or whether I'm accidentally giving Patreon subscribers to some other podcast that we don't know about. SoFarscape.com, SoFarscape on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you once again to all of our listeners, our beloved submitters of synopses who jumped in at the last minute. So sorry I forgot about that until the very end. To our friend Lee for her fantastic music, and to to you, the listeners, for sticking with us, because I don't know which number episode this is. I wonder if we've crossed like 100 episodes by now.
No, it shouldn't be. It should end at exactly 100 episodes, if I recall your calculations.
Is that with the double... No, it's the number of times that you go through the wormhole, not the number of episodes with wormholes in them anyway. I'm Khaki.
I'm Kay.
So far, Skip, so good. So Stargate, so good, damn it.